Daraprim is on the World Health Organization's model list of essential medicines, an invaluable weapon in the fight against malaria and a serious infection caused by HIV. A young U.S. financier, Martin Shkreli, manager of a hedge fund investing in health products, bought the rights to the drug in the United States. He then bumped up the price of Daraprim from $13.50 to $750, a 5,000% increase.
Pharma greed kills. Evil, not profits. Pharma greed kills. Evil, not profits. Pharma greed kills. People, not profits.
Martin Shkreli refused to budge on the price of his medication.
Now please welcome to the stage Martin Shkreli, founder and...
Facing the financial press, he tried to defend the indefensible.
Well, thanks for coming. Thank you. Up here.
If you could rewind the clock a few months, I wonder if you would do anything differently.
I probably would have raised the price higher, is probably what I would have done.
Why?
I think healthcare prices are inelastic. I could have raised it higher and made more profits for our shareholders, which is my primary duty. And again, no one wants to say it. No one's proud of it. But, you know, this is a capitalist society, capitalist system, and capitalist rules. And my investors expect me to maximize profits, not to minimize them or go half or go 70%, but to go to 100%.
An immoral increase, maybe, but perfectly legal. As part of an investigation into the scandal of unchecked drug prices, Martin Shkreli was summoned to appear before a U.S. congressional committee.
What do you say to that single pregnant woman who might have AIDS, no income, and she needs Daraprim in order to survive? What do you say to her when she has to make that choice? What do you say to her?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Somebody's paying. It's the taxpayers that end up paying for some of them. I know you're smiling, but I'm very serious, sir.
I ask now that the committee excuse the witness from the table without objection, so ordered. We'll pause for a moment as Mr. Shkreli is escorted out.
Martin Shkreli was soon dubbed the most hated man in America. Sometime later, he was arrested by the FBI and convicted by a federal court on securities fraud. He was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. Beyond his individual case, Shkreli became the embodiment of the excesses of the pharmaceutical industry and the embodiment of its cynicism. The price of Daraprim has never returned to its original level.
Some useful fools attract attention by their behavior, which, while cynical, is actually very useful in giving a clear picture of what these people and their abuses of the system represent.
De quelle dérive d'un système ces personnes sont-ils le nom?
Over the past 10 years, the landscape of the drug industry has dramatically changed. A handful of pharmaceutical companies manufactures the vast majority of drugs. One of the world's top 5 is Swiss company Novartis. Having acquired a host of smaller companies, it boasts an annual turnover of $45 billion and now holds some promising patents in treatments for cancer and other rare diseases. The two American giants, Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, have also bought dozens of rival firms to expand their market. Another top 5 company is Roche, a Swiss drug manufacturer which has acquired 25 competing therapies. And the French giant Sanofi has an annual turnover of more than $40 billion. It too has bought a dozen pharmaceutical laboratories in Europe and North America. With each having 100,000 employees, these multinationals make up the global market commonly known as Big Pharma. To maintain their monopoly on certain diseases, large laboratories are accused of playing down or hiding from the health authorities some of the results of their clinical trials. The upshot is that some of the drugs released on the market trigger serious side effects in the patients they are supposed to be treating. Like Mediator, a drug produced by Servier Laboratories from France and withdrawn from the market 30 years after launch amid a major scandal. Or Depakine, an epilepsy treatment, one of the world's most widely distributed drugs in the last 50 years. Made by the French giant Sanofi, the drug, while effective, is at the center of a huge health scandal in Europe. Its use has been proved to be extremely dangerous for the unborn child in pregnant women. In 2015, Sanofi finally came to an agreement with the ANSM, the official body that licenses drugs in France. The patient package insert supplied with Depakine was amended to clearly indicate the significant risk of deformity and developmental problems, almost 50 years after the drug was first launched, despite all of the warnings. Sanofi's patient package insert is now very clear in all languages. Depakine can seriously harm an unborn baby when taken during pregnancy. Exposed children are at high risk of serious intellectual and motor development disorders in up to 30 to 40% of cases, and/or deformities in around 10% of cases. After 2 months of negotiations, the multinational Novartis turned down our request for an interview. Instead, they sent a simple press release. We price our new medicines based on the value they deliver to patients, healthcare systems, and society. We strive to take into account income levels, local affordability barriers, and economic realities, while maintaining the sustainability of our business.
The FDA now is on the payroll of the pharmaceutical industry. They pay user fees to the part of the FDA that evaluates new drugs for approval. So this makes this part of the FDA dependent on the companies that they are supposedly regulating. The drug companies love it because it makes the part of the FDA that evaluates their drugs extremely friendly, since they support it. It is a blatant conflict of interest. This ought to be well funded, and there ought to be no conflicts of interest.